Okay, there's no screen. Share screen, no. I think we need to switch the video output somehow. So technical difficulties, stand by. How do we edit? Okay, that all looks good. Okay, well, this is the first try. We're trying to do the dual output. It looks like the webcam is not on. I don't even know if the audio is on. Oh, weird. It's coming from the phone. Hey, sorry, everybody. That was weird. I have no idea how I'm doing this. Technical difficulties. But hello. So that was strange. I entered the camera. Okay, settings. I entered the camera as the webcam from the phone. Or from the computer. But obviously it's from the phone. All right. Well, here we go. We'll just do a little quick test. Let me see. We'll try another browser here and see what that does. Yeah, not on the hill currently. Usually if I go live this time of night, it'd be night riding somewhere. Let's try this. Yeah, feel free to chat me up in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just talk about some recent events here. So bear with me as I'm trying to test what this looks like here. Guide me along the way. Let's see. Oh yeah, it does show we're live. Okay. Well, we'll go like this for a moment. Turn that down so you don't get any feedback. Super strange. Okay, I'll work on those settings and see if I can get that dialed in. But at least I know. So I am on the desktop is where I started the live stream. First try doing that. And first try doing what they call the dual output. So that should be the horizontal view and the vertical view. And maybe that is why you have to use the phone if you've selected that option. Maybe just horizontal would allow it right to come from the desktop and just vertical from the phone. Anyway, I used to doing it from the phone. Triple Crown, dude, thought you might be at Keystone tonight when I saw you live. Yeah, not at Keystone tonight. I don't think they do night skiing during the week. Sometimes during the weekends, but selected times throughout the winter. No Keystone tonight. But I did ride Keystone today. It was fun. Now that the days are getting longer, as we're moving more towards summer, I suppose, the sun hits that Area 51 I-70 side terrain park very first thing. So that very first lift ride up at 8:30, that whole I-70 was in the sun this morning. The regular alley part where that terrain park is still in the shade. But if you go up top, a lot of School Marm, top of Keystone, School Marm is in the sun, and That backside Mozart's in the sun as well. I did hit some ice on that backside. I tried to go right underneath the Ranger lift and that steep run there, the Black Diamond run, and it was pretty icy. It was, you know, you were able to hold an edge, find a little bit of fresh snow on the sides, but pretty firm just because it's mostly snowmaking snow back there. But yeah, Triple Crown, we're just trying out the live stream features here. Experimental, working on some sort of little studio here where I could do the just straight chat. Anyway, yeah, so reading through some of these specs here, the settings. Exploration 1437. It's finally horizontal. Oh, it is. Okay. So I did hit the dual output. There's something new YouTube is doing where you can go vertical or horizontal. So I'm wondering if you guys have your choice to be able to do that. Okay, a stream looks and sounds good. I'm wondering if the audio is also from my phone. Let me see. Maybe if I do this, it would come through a little bit better for the audio. I'll try that. Just to uncover that. I was just setting the phone on the speakers because it was supposed to be from the laptop. Anyway, yeah, thanks for letting me know you can do the horizontal. So weird finally seeing you in more normal aspect ratio. Yeah, a little bit different. I like this aspect ratio much better, the horizontal versus the vertical. But the vertical definitely works well when I'm on the slopes. And I have in the past been able to do a vertical live stream from the slopes, or a landscape mode they call it, the horizontal style. But I had to run it through a different camera, so I was running it through the GoPro. And as soon as that GoPro battery died, then the stream would end. And I found the batteries on the phones to be much better than just the GoPro battery. But it would be one long continuous stream from the GoPro, so it'd eat up the battery pretty quick. And then the nice thing about that was it was capture to the GoPro SD card, as well as do the live stream. Hey, Logan, Riley, what's up? Legendary Lemon is in the chat as well. And doing some experimenting here tonight. Hopefully, I get it all dialed in. I've tried a couple of streaming platforms that have failed. Or to do some multi-streams. So I was hoping to do some multi-streams, but this is just straight to YouTube with that dual aspect ratio. So I think when I hit stop on the live stream tonight, maybe it'll post as both horizontal and vertical. Or like I said, maybe you guys have a choice. Snow Wolf 123 is laughing at me. Looks like Darth Vader with no helmet. Totally, Snow Wolf. I thought about putting my Fallout hoodie on for the stream. I could put my hood up. Maybe it'll be a little bit more recognizable. But yeah, Darth Vader without the hoodie. Without his mask on. Anakin Skywalker underneath that Darth Vader helmet. Too funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, working on a video. Tom is a Jedi. Snow Division. Thanks, Snow Wolf. It was certainly fun out there today. Nice to have some warmer temperatures. I wish I could have stayed later in the day, hit some more park, but I was able to take a couple laps through the A51 terrain park features there at Keystone today. And yesterday was really fun. Sunday went over to Ski Granby Ranch. So it's about an hour and 20 minutes from here, depending on traffic. But traffic was easy heading out there early morning and then coming back about noon. And got to do the demo, the Donic demo, and got to ride a Martin snowboard. So those are the freestyle carving type boards, and what an experience. Not only were a bunch of the Donic folks there, including the owner of Donic, but My good friends, Dave Hollander, Ryan Napton were out there. Mason was out there. You know, lots more of the Donic crew. And they got to help me just have that first experience on those types of boards. So I did the demo. I started out on a Martin Snowboard 150, which sounds like a really short board for me because I usually ride a 162, 159, somewhere in there. But they have such massive side cut on those, it's like riding a longer board, even though it's a shorter physical centimeter there. Anyway, 150 is what I started out on, made some carves there. Then Napton suggested I move right up to a little bit longer board. Logan V mountain bike number 24, what's up? Logan, we're experimenting with some horizontal live streams here, and I'm telling the story of riding the freestyle carving boards with the Martin and Donic crew for the very first time yesterday. So I'll jump back on the chat. Anyway, got on a 154 centimeter Martin board and was able to get that feeling of those big heel side and toe side carves on that really nice groom trail at Granby Ranch. And so I placed my order today for a Martin snowboard. So the Donics are the more advanced riding type boards. Are a stiffer board, a little less forgiving. So when you're just starting out on these types of much different style of snowboards, that's where the Martin line comes in. Also the Martin, they can do more mass production, where those Donics are just custom snowboards. Every one takes longer to build. So the Martin line, they can crank those out and you can get those much faster instead of waiting for a long time. But if you do the custom style, you can go through and design your specs and talk with those folks and see exactly what you want. Logan Rally Outdoors says, what do you think? Some easier blues at Keystone. My little brother is doing great on the greens, and I'm curious what blues he should get on from the start. Oh, gosh. I would say maybe Spring Dipper. That could be a decent blue to start out on, just because worst comes to worst, if you could only make it down there the way to the midway station on the River Run gondola, at least you could get on the midway station and download the rest from there. And lots of people will be on Spring Dipper usually any time, so if you really get into trouble, at least there's other folks around that you could ask for help for. There are some steep parts on Spring Dipper, but pretty darn mellow. But yeah, Keystone can be tough for intermediate blues. A lot of those blues just on the front side of Keystone, they're pretty steep in spots, and even some moguls. So yeah, Spring Dipper, I guess, would be what I would tell you there. And Papa Craig came out, and it was only his 7th time on the hill. We went on Saturday, and he was able to do that very bottom pitch of River Run, which is, I think, the steepest and the iciest. So right down there by the gondola. Snow Wolf, Flying Dutchman. Yeah, Flying Dutchman can be great. If everything is groomed, I think some of those can be much more forgiving. But if they're not groomed, you can find yourself in some moguls pretty darn quick on some of those. Devian249, glad to meet you today. No way, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing you just as I was leaving the park there. Got you some stickers, so that was awesome. Hope you had a good rest of your day out there. Yeah, it was short and sweet this morning. Same thing for tomorrow, short and sweet. Got a ton of work to do. Logan, glad I could stop in and say hi. I'm at the gym right now, about to start the workout. All right, good luck there, Logan. Get pumped up there so you can stomp those big tricks over there at Powderhorn. Hopefully it's riding well. Looked like the Powderhorn Park crew is getting some features up there for you. And so, yeah, took a couple. So I'll go back to my story about my first experience on the Donic style snowboards and the Martin snowboard. Jared G, what's up? Good evening. Thinking of taking some carving skis up to Loveland tomorrow. All right, sweet. There's a good chance I could be at Loveland tomorrow. It'd be really quick, maybe just a lap or two on Chet's Stream. It's a bummer they went to the 9 a.m. opening during the weekdays and 8:30 on the weekends there at Loveland, because that really cuts my time short. working at 10 a.m. tomorrow makes that pretty tough to not go to a resort that opens at 8:30. Right on, Logan. Yep, have a good one. Thanks for checking it out. We're just experimenting with the horizontal and vertical live streams here on YouTube. Doug Beasy, hey, what's up? Thanks for checking in the chat, Doug. Messing around and trying some experiments here on the YouTube streams. Snowwolf, Paymaster's the best at Keystone, though. Or Starfire. Yeah, if you're more advanced, those blues. So Paymaster has some nice steep spots to it. If it's a powder day, some great rollers. For beginners, it can be pretty advanced, some difficult terrain there. And then Starfire over on North Peak, oh man, one of my favorites. If that's groomed out nice and you can get some carves in, or a nice powder day where it's really steep. Yeah, but I've been on Starfire where it's so icy you can barely hold an edge, and so a little bit tougher for beginners. But yeah, those are super fun runs there at Keystone Snowwolf. So yeah, Doug Beasy, how are you and Tristan doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Like I said, experimenting with some PinPin YouTube Studio. Hopefully do some more of these types of streams when I get them dialed in. But really want to check out that horizontal and vertical dual live stream to see if I hit end on the live stream, if it'll save it in both formats, or maybe you guys have your choice. But yeah, sure looks like it's just coming through for the horizontal. I didn't see any choice to go horizontal or vertical. But all part of the learning process. I definitely selected that option where we can do a dual output, and logged out, logged back in to make sure that stayed put for that selection, and it certainly did. Doug Beasy watching football, and he's had the flu, but hitting Eldora tomorrow. Ah, man, that stinks. I know Tristan's been sick a bunch. Eldora looks super fun. I know they opened a lot more terrain down there at Eldora, I think, on Sunday. Snowwolf used to watch the PinPin movies when I lived in Summit County. 2003 and 2013, through that era, oh man, we're cranking out a PinPin film every single year during most of that time frame. At least 2003 to 2008. PinPin 3 to PinPin 8. That's awesome, Snowwolf. Thanks for checking those out. Those were certainly fun to make. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to make another film. I would love to. I did start working on a film last season, and when I was backing up a lot of that footage that I shot during the main part of the season, the hard drive fell on the floor, broke, and I've sent it to 3 other places that are supposed to be able to save footage off broken hard drives, and they said, nope, beyond repair. But I have sent it to one of my good friends that's looking into it, and could be salvageable. If not, we have to reshoot, but no worries. So hopefully I'll do one of those at some point in the future, another film. Just not sure when that's going to be. Everyone in the family has been sick except for Doug. Oh man, Doug, stay healthy. Yeah, I've been really going hermit style and trying to avoid the crud as much as I possibly can. So yeah, back to the story of Granby Ranch. So one of the reasons why that place was selected is it's just not crowded and it has these wide open, really nicely groomed runs where they're not too steep. You want more of a mellow pitch, at least starting out on that style of freestyle carving board. So great place to learn how to do that. And like I said, I am placed my order. It's in the works for one of those boards. So I'll get to experiment with those more often. And I hope to get those out just early morning groomies, especially if I'm going up to Breckenridge and riding with some of those Donna crew. I'd like to have one of those types of boards where they can give me pointers on it. And that was all part of the fun of that Donic demo, because I could make a few turns, get pointers from those guys, just get that immediate feedback, and made the whole thing much more enjoyable. But total blast. Don't get me wrong, I'm sticking with the academies, no doubt. I rode the Graduate today as well as the Propaganda. Changed it up a little bit, but I'm sticking with those. And yeah, for cruising some groomies in the morning. I'm excited to try one of those out. All right. Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow, not sure if I can hit Keystone again, I will, because they do the 8:30 a.m. opening time. I'd love to hit Breckenridge. They're also 8:30 a.m. opening, but just the drive from Breckenridge down to where I need to work takes a little bit longer time, so that would cut my time down as well. So on these short days, it's either Arapahoe Basin, Loveland. Bummer about those is they open at 9 a.m. during the weekday, or Keystone. So get a few more runs in, but quick live stream tomorrow is the plan. But thankfully, haven't missed a day yet. So October 25th, Keystone opened, and been able to get out at least for a few runs every day since then, even it was some night shredding. On the way back home to Colorado Springs from Breckenridge, says Breezy Bree 420. Safe travels, Breezy Bree. Hope you had fun at Breckenridge. Got some turns out there. I'm looking forward to getting back to Breckenridge. Hopefully one of these mornings when I have a little bit more time, we'll get out to Breckenridge. If not, maybe a weekend. That'll work. Because their park is really nice over there at Breckenridge, at least those jumps that I was able to hit the last time I was there. I still think Copper has the most variety of jumps, rails, boxes. It looked like Winter Park was a close second. I don't know if just the main features, I'd say the medium-sized features at Winter Park were not open yet. I saw them all. They looked like they were ready to go. I was there really late in the day, and I know sometimes they close the park 3 o'clock, 3:30, just to get ready for the next day. So I'm not sure if that's what was going on, but I was not able to ride those features. Rode some beginner features, and the more pro features were open there at Winter Park last time I was there. Snow Wolf is asking if I've been to Mount Baker. I've never been to Mount Baker. I would love to. Ridden in Oregon plenty of times, ridden in that whole area, northwest, but really only Mount Hood. Have not made it to Baker, but I would love to. Snow's still never been there. Best friend lives there. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that live out in that area and around. Been invited many times, just haven't made it out there yet. But hope to do some more traveling. It might be just a day drive here and there, or wherever I can make it on the weekends. Some of those longer road trips, we'll have to wait until later in the season. But yeah, I'm trying to change it up. I'm trying to use as much as I can off the passes that are available on my Icon, plus Loveland. My full Loveland pass gives me quite a few 1 or 2 or 3 day passes here and there at different resorts. Yeah, Baker is a long haul. I've done the drive from Mount Hood, Oregon to Colorado, back and forth several times. I've done it straight through. It's brutal. I've stopped in Salt Lake to break up the drive a little bit. But I'd love to hit Idaho and California, some of those California resorts as well. And there's a chance that I will get out there maybe next month. So plan is if the Broncos can go to the Super Bowl, I will do a road trip out there to the Levi Stadium. And I'll hit some resorts along the way. But come on, Broncos, make that happen so I can do a road trip to get out there. I've just never been to a Super Bowl in person. My folks have gone to a few. My sister made it to the last Broncos game with my father, Super Bowl 50, so a decade ago. Denver Broncos when they won. And yeah, so glad that they got to do that because my dad passed away shortly thereafter. So thankful that they got out there, like the Carolina Panthers. And if you remember, there was big snowstorms in Colorado during that time. And so there was a whole scramble to get out of San Francisco area or any of the airports around Levi Stadium there. And so a lot of the Bronco players or the announcers or the team were actually taking those commercial flights. So my father and my sister got to get some inside knowledge and sit next to some of those players that they had watched growing up or some of their heroes. So, neat experience for them. But they were trying to get back for the big Denver parade, and so it was a scramble to get out of there. Lots of flights were closing. See you at Loveland soon. All right, Snow Wolf. Yeah, love to see you at Loveland. Jared G is usually there. He says he's going to hit up there tomorrow, so that could be fun. I know Easy Ripper usually hits up Loveland. Made the drive up from Lakewood. Okay, yeah, Snow Wolf. It should be fun. Oh, no way. You went to Super Bowl 50 at Levi Stadium. They said they got beer and hot dogs, and it was over $100. It was quite an experience. We have some good friends that live right near Levi Stadium. So that's part of the challenge is just all of those hotels around there. They just book up so fast or they become so expensive. All kinds of price gouging around that. But I do a pinball tournament in the summer sometimes right in that area. And so if I can get into that hotel, I know some ways in and out of there pretty quickly. But if that's just nuts, I'll stay with some friends out there. Granby Ranch was super fun. I had a blast down there riding those extreme freestyle carving boards. And you can use your soft boots. You don't have to go hard boots in those. So I just used my regular snowboard bindings, transferred them over to the Martin snowboard, and started out on the 150, moved up to the 154. But I should have cranked my high backs a little bit more for those types of carves. But yeah, it was great. Good experience. And looking forward to riding some of those boards more. Breeze Bree 420. Hope to see you at Breckenridge soon. Definitely be back at Breckenridge as soon as I can. And hit some more of those terrain park features there. That Rockstar Energy course is still up. It was really cool that they left those rails in and the huge spine and the huge quarter pipes and those jumps. I wasn't even able to explore the other peaks at Breckenridge. I just had a few laps on that Chair 5 when I was there last. So I don't know if there's any other terrain parks. Sometimes in other parts of the hill, Breckenridge does other terrain parks. All I saw was Freeway when I was there last time, but I will be exploring that as soon as I can. All right, guys, thanks for helping me with the experiment here. Obviously, it's working. You guys can hear me and see me. Have no idea how I was able to transfer this over to my phone when I selected the webcam. Ed Old School says Grand Blanche looks pretty mellow place. Figured it would be good for me for my first time back on the board after a long hiatus. Absolutely. I didn't see any super difficult terrain when I was at Granby Ranch, although not a lot of the ski area was open. So like a lot of Colorado resorts, they just haven't had enough snow to have a lot of the mountain open. But I did ride the beginner bunny hill chair. I was accessing the terrain park, so I lapped that a few times. And then I hit the two other main chairlifts there, the high-speed quads. So only a few runs, but yeah, they were really fun. And hopefully they can get more of the mountain open after some more storms. All right, guys, short and sweet. Thanks for helping with the experiment. I'm not even sure how I stop this thing, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. So thanks for tuning in. I'll end the stream right here. Roberto Juan, keep it going, TT. Avoid the cabbage. Doing the best I can. Put in the cabbage a little bit on the icy parts I found way back in the end of Mozart Run there, or the backside towards North Peak. But helping us when we find it. Yep, no problem. Yeah, I have a whole tow rope system in my vehicle. So big tow ropes. I haul people out of the cabbage whenever I can. I got the truck. Okay, we'll see you guys soon. See you tomorrow on the live stream. Take care. See ya.